The 48 Laws of Power. So this is a book which was written by Robert Greene in 1998. But in the recent years, like I can say from 2020 onward, it has become it has, it has reached levels which it has never reached before. And this is because now power has found a way to go down into even to the people who in the past were not involved in power. And now this has been a kind of like democratizing of power. So like power has come away from being only among a few influential people, and now it has come down into the rest of the people. So welcome to the Let Book Review. This is the ninth session, and now today it's all about 48 laws of power. So for me, this book, first of all, it has this story. So for me, stories have always been at the top of my list when I talk about the best books that I have read about. So the first thing is that Robert Greene uses these stories to explain his points in such a way that you can relate to it, and also you can use those examples to look at your own life. Now in that way now you can kind of understand very well what he's talking about. So it is more like gives you more practical terms of putting the books into application. The second thing it does is that it gives you two sides of the story. So like gives you the good side of the like what happens when you observe the law. And on the other hand, it gives you the the effect of what happens if you break the law, like what you'll gain from following the law and what you'll gain from borrowing the law. Like not from borrowing but from breaking the law. So Robert Greene now does this in very he does it for every law, and now you are able to see like in what areas you may be breaking the law, and also on the other side in how you may be following the law. So gives you both sides. And then the other thing Robert Greene does is that it's like the way he has designed his book. So the way the book is designed is that he has one middle column, and now from that middle column now he complements what he's talking about with stories on either side of the column. So on one page he goes with the right column and now he gives the stories there. And then on the other side he gives the stories on the left column. So if on the page number one the story to complement were on the right column, on page two they'll be on the left column. Also in terms of columns, there is a way that he like in every chapter there's a way that it makes sure that information like it fits the what he's talking about. So for example, when he talks about a diamond, he puts the it text in a diamond form, so it looks like this, then like this. If we're talking about the sun, it is in a circle. So and then there is another one that he talks about a snake, and now the text looks like a snake, like it goes wiggling its way down the text. So that is the other thing about Robert Greene, that he uses this format that it ends up like being it is a kind of subconscious, like that you are subconscious, like the message that he intends to pass to you. The other thing about Robert Greene is that the other thing is that at the end of the books, like at the end of every law, he always gives you like best way to go about like implementing that law. So it is the first law. So never to update your master. So when he talks about that law, he gives you the conditions whereby you need to follow the law, and also the conditions whereby you can kind of break the law. So he had these kind of practical terms that tells you how to go about implementing the law in the real life. Also, the last thing about this book is that the amount of research that Robert Greene put into his work. And now, when you read the book, you realize that he has quoted very different books. So, for example, he researches the Chinese and their history, the French and their history, the English and their history, the Romans. He talks about the Romans extensively, and also in recent history, he also talks about that. So, for example, there's a thing about Kissinger. So Robert Greene, like, he put a lot of research into his work, and now when you read this book, he also gives you these resources, like resources that you can add on to what you have already read. So, for example, there's this book that he talked about in the he quotes the story of the what happened during the in China during the war of the three kingdoms. So for me, it gives you that besides reading the book and gaining the knowledge, it's also a kind of a resource that enables you. It gives you a way to kind of go and add on to what you have already read if you are more interested in that stuff. So that is the thing about Robert Greene and Potato Lots of Us. So I'll see you next week and have a good time. So bye bye. Carpe diem.